Hello everybody, and welcome back to Animal Crossing City Folk. Today, I'm a bit more awake than I have been the past few days. I'm still kind of tired, because my body's been like, hey, we've been like going to sleep around now? Like, now would be a good time to sleep. And it's like, no body. No, we just got up like less than 12 hours ago. We're staying awake, body. And it's like, no, but sleep. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but... Hey, darling. Good morning, Rara. Hey, they're having a contest. Try and find the next Little Miss Creamed Corn. Oh my gosh, wouldn't it be so fun? Come on, you want to do it together? It's way too embarrassing to do it by myself, Rara. Sure. Yay, Rara. Okay, so first we have to, like, figure out... Hey! You can't enter. You're a boy. Boys are too stinky to enter a contest like this. Everyone knows that. Look, I'm totally sorry to crush your dreams or whatever, but forget I ever mentioned it. Why would you have asked? It's not like I volunteered. You're just like, hey, let's do this. Something you want to talk about? Let's chat. You may think I'm just a tired old man for saying this, but I like walking slow. Everyone these days is caught up with speed walking. But who needs speed? Wander around on a day like this one and see what you discover. Maria. Fair enough. Hey, dig spot. Need to get our shovel out. Today, I don't exactly know a whole lot what I'm going to talk about. I know I kind of want to talk a bit about TCGs. And I know I talk about TCGs a lot. I'm kind of a big TCG fan. I just don't have the money to get into a lot of them. And most of what I really want to talk about today is just the barrier for entry on a lot of the TCGs. Like the three main ones of Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon. The barriers for entries of them are all so drastically different. And honestly, in my opinion, of all of them, Yu-Gi-Oh has the lowest. Oh, hey, this is the money rock. Like, let's take Magic the Gathering, for example. Okay, you want to get into Magic. Well, what format do you want to play? Standard, modern, commander, brawl, you know, you have to know this stuff before you start. Like, that's kind of one of the problems, at least I have with Magic, is before you even start looking at buying cards, you need to know what you want to play. Which is kind of annoying, really. Oh, hey, Pascal's in town. Let's go check our beaches for, things. This is a villager. Yeah, that's Coco. I know where Gladys moved out. We're possibly gonna have a new villager appearing soon. Oh no, I crushed some flowers. Oh, I forget what I was saying. This is the problem with being tired and trying to hold a coherent thought. Okay, yeah, you basically need to know all the separate formats for Magic to really get into it. I mean, yeah, you can just go out and buy some packs, and then hope that you can do something with them. Another issue is just getting lands, which you basically... I mean, it's great for the local game stores. They can sell you mass lands, because lands are effectively worthless to anyone once they have their, basically, 20 of each. Which leads to, we actually a while back bought a bunch of Magic the Gathering cards to attempt getting into it, and we don't have a scallop, sadly. Actually, I'm gonna clear a bit of the beach. But like, we bought a bunch of them, and that included a bunch of lands. So we have just a ton of lands. We don't need them. And we have like, I think I built 4 decks myself, and my sister built 1 deck. So we have 5 decks used up, and we've barely used any lands. Doesn't help, a lot of our lands are kind of meh. Because that's another thing of like, there's so many different cards that do the same thing, but some of them are just inherently worse than others. Well, the turnip prices anyway. 85. Okay. Like, for instance, in Magic the Gathering, there are some dual lands, which I'm gonna sell the wardrobe. Which basically they'll provide 2 separate colors of land. Well, mana, which is basically your way of summoning things. I don't want to go into how you play Magic. That's not what this is about. But basically, some of them, when you play them, they don't do anything but give you 2 different types of land. Well, 2 different colors. But they come into play tapped, which means they're unusable when you play them. There are others that come into play like normal lands. But that's all they do as well. So they're basically the same as this other card, but better because they don't have a drawback. I mean, it just doesn't seem consistent. Especially when you get formats like, from what I understand, Commander, basically almost everything is legal to play. Why would you ever play one of these dual lands that comes into play tapped? You're just gonna get one of the ones that doesn't. Because it's just better. Especially because there are multiple things in Magic that can prevent things from untapping. So if you play something that comes into play tapped, well, it's potentially a dead resource now. Because you're not gonna get to untap it. I don't think you can possibly do that to lands. I don't know. I don't know enough Magic cards to know. I mean, with the Pokemon TCG, because I don't want to just talk about Magic, basically, the barrier for entry is honestly about the same as for Magic. And the main problem with the barrier for entry is the main place you're going to play is Standard. That is where all new players are probably going to start. Well, Standard for Pokemon is about the last 2 or 3 sets released. It can sometimes vary. The best way to remember it is generally it's whatever game is the newest, those packs are going to be what you're playing. So currently, Sun and Moon packs, basically. But that means that every few years, well, not even possibly few years, every possible year, you're having to buy entirely new decks just to keep playing. I mean, yes, some cards get consistently reprinted exactly the same and you can keep playing them. That's even the same with Magic. But then you take something like Yu-Gi-Oh! You could go and buy a bulk box of old Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards from somebody. You know, just buy somebody's old collection. And every single card will be legal to play so long as it's not on the ban list. Like, you could be getting cards from, you know, the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Set, and they're still going to be play legal. Do some fishing while we're here. Oh, jeez. Like, that, to me, makes the barrier for entry for Yu-Gi-Oh! The lightest of all of them. Like, you can just go onto eBay and buy somebody's old collection, and you can play now. I mean, no, your deck is probably not going to be the best. It might not even compete with other terrible decks. But that's kind of how everybody starts a TCG. Like, your first deck is never going to be the best deck. Unless you just get really lucky and read a lot on the cards. Like, every card. And even then, you still might not see how different things would actually work out to be the best. Oh hey, we got some carnations to grow. They grew on the cliff, but we grew some carnations! Yay! Like, I still like all of those TCGs. Like, I like all of them. Which I know is probably a weird thing. Usually people will take their sides. I don't really. I like all of them. Though, when it comes to, say, the Pokemon TCG, I honestly prefer just collecting the cards. I mean, the barrier for entry on it is actually a little lower because, well, you're going to be generally familiar with everything before you start. And what I mean by that is, like, weaknesses are about the same as they are in the actual Pokemon games. So if you're going from games to TCG, then you're pretty much set. All of that information is already something you basically know. You know, generally, you know, attaching energy is... It tends to make a lot more sense to people, I've noticed, than, you know, like the land system in Magic. That tends to confuse people more often than not, because it's like, wait, so you mean this stays here and it's a resource I can keep using? You know, or like, okay, I've tapped it, but now what does it do? How does this work? It can be confusing. I know to someone who knows Magic, those questions are like, but it just does that. You know, it's simple. You gotta remember, people are dumb. You were once dumb. Everyone's dumb. I'm dumb. But like, I'd probably play the Pokemon TCG more if there was a better place to play it for basically no money. And what I mean by that is, like, the Pokemon TCG Online is good if you can afford to keep up with things. I mean, you can play completely for free and get a fairly competent deck, but you're still going to fall behind the players who have money. Magic the Gathering has a really cool thing you can get and play called Magic the Gathering Chandelar, which is an old game. It was like a DOS game, but people have modded it so that it works on modern systems perfectly fine. They also modded to add a lot of modern cards into it as well. Well, modern-ish. They're like 2015 and before cards. But there's, you know... I'm just listening for the fish, which I think swam out the other side. Or not, I might have just scared it off. I don't know. But like, that, in my opinion, is a great way of just playing Magic the Gathering without needing to break the bank. I mean, the game itself is basically freeware at this point. So you can just kind of go wild. And for Yu-Gi-Oh, you can literally play everything up to the most modern for complete free using Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Percy. It's just what you should search to find it. It's just Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro. And it's basically just an online dueling resource that, if Konami can shut it down, they seem to be showing no interest in shutting it down. And you can play completely for free on there. It can be kind of annoying to get games, and you'll play against generally everything, really. But it makes it, honestly, the most accessible to get into. Yeah, I'll just release this back. I didn't realize my pockets were full. Which is another reason why I kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Even though I like all of them, but I think I kind of like it the most. And it's just, it has a good place to play online where you can use the most modern things and, you know, it just kind of works. Wait, no, I want to hang on to the sweet fish. I was just like, wait, one of these is something I want to hang on to. What are the turnip prices? 109. I will wait for tomorrow. As much as that might be a bit dangerous, hanging on and waiting. If the prices are good tomorrow, I might just take them. And that just reminded me, Thursday my time, which will be Friday in-game, there is the possibility of a tropical storm / typhoon hitting... Not typhoon. Typhoon? Some storm. Swirly storm. Hitting the province I live in. There's a chance I'm going to be watching it because I don't really want it to interrupt the videos too much. And if it does, I want to make sure it at least doesn't interrupt our red turnip. So... that's the thing, and it might possibly knock out power, which is why I mentioned that. So if there isn't anything on Friday, or it's at a really weird time, or done really weirdly, that is why. Let's see. Oh yeah, we've already had a sweet fish donated. Oh brothers, I don't have a memory for this stuff. I'm bad at remembering anything, really. It's just kind of how I am. Please identify this. T-Rex skull. We already have one of those. Yeah, like, I want to love every TCG. I even really like Hearthstone. They all have things about them that I love. 2 T-Rex skulls. Okay then. Not gonna get coffee because I've been rambling for a while today, and I'm getting progressively more tired. Like, I can really feel my eyes are not wanting to stay open. So... usually I found the fix for that is to just close your eyes for a few seconds. And, you know, it tends to help. So we'll be probably heading into town tomorrow. I'm going to come into Nooks and sell these fossils today. That way we'll have more inventory space tomorrow. I'm going to try and get a morning and afternoon price again tomorrow for turnips. Because that just helps with, you know, getting the best turnip price you can get. There we go. Yeah, like, I've been trying my best to stay kind of neutral on all of them, and honestly with the Pokemon TCG I haven't played it in a while, so I don't know how kind of broken the game itself might be at this point, because as new mechanics get added, games tend to break. And honestly, Yu-Gi-Oh! Feels like it's getting better. It used to be pretty much spam the game. And Konami could fix all of that with one change. The problem is most people are not going to like said change. Pom Pom has the edgy flame umbrella. Okay. And that change would just be limit the number of special summons a player can make a turn. But the thing is, players hate even cards that do that. They want to be able to do their long combos, which makes sense. Pulling off those combos feels amazing. I will give that. The problem is those combos are bad for the life of the game. And it mostly just comes from the fact that most of these combos, like currently there's basically 2 decks on the top of... Benedict wants something here. Let's chat with him. Oh, big bro. I was gonna give you my splendid shirt. My mom said I should give presents to everyone in town who I'm friends with. She sent me all kinds of cool stuff, like the splendid shirt I just gave you. Oh, that's pretty nice. Here, let's put that on. Yeah. Well, I see how it is. But the 2 main archetypes that are ruling the meta anyway are called Gouki and Trickstar Skystriker. They are kind of ruling the meta. And Gouki is, at least in North America, nearly outdoing Skystriker Trickstar, which everywhere else in the world is the top. North America, we have a few cards that the rest of the world doesn't. And Gouki does this through basically abusing mechanics that shouldn't have ever been something they could abuse. Which is, you know, kind of dirty. I don't know much about the meta of the other 2 games. I only really play Magic Chandelure. Partially because I just do not have the money to keep up with anything in Magic. And there's no reliable way of playing online anywhere where you can actually keep up with the meta without getting frustrated. Same with Pokemon, really. Because, like, the Pokemon TCG is great. Don't get me wrong. The online thing is great. But you will probably get frustrated playing it because you're not going to have all the EXs and GXs that everyone else is using. And you're probably not going to have a way of countering them either. So you're just going to be losing consistently. And that's just not fun. It's not fun to always lose. It can get boring to always win too, which is why I don't understand why everyone plays these uber consistent decks. I mean, I want a deck that's going to win about 50 to 60% of the time. And that's all I'm looking for. I want at least about a coin flip of winning. Then again, in Yu-Gi-Oh! One of my favorite archetypes is one that is very bad, but very fun to play. And it's called Arcana Force, if anyone wants to go look it up. It's basically an archetype of coin flip monsters, with a decent effect for heads, and a horrendously bad effect for you for tails. Like, that is the archetype in a nutshell. And it's just fun. It's not good, but it's fun. Every duel feels different because the coins flip different ways. But I'm just kind of rambling, and anyone who doesn't know anything about these 3 TCGs is probably lost, and I apologize for that. Though I would suggest you look into them if you actually like, you know, card games and such. But with that, I thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time for more Animal Crossing City Folk. See you all then.